Caitlin Clark come out and say what needed to be said. She stood on business and said, we need to play in games. And y'all that are signed to these other leagues that are compromised, stop playing with the people who are not. Stop playing games. Let's get to it. Ain't nothing to it. But
earlier today, the WNBA Players Association's first vice president, Kelsey Plum, took a strong stance during contract negotiations. But the situation became more complicated at the USA basketball camp in North Carolina, where league superstar Caitlin Clark expressed the opposite view. Clark, the league's MVP, publicly urged both sides to reach a compromise, stressing how important it is for players to be able to play this season. Plum responded by saying the negotiations remain far apart and extremely frustrating. Essentially, two top players are sending completely different messages. Adding intrigue, one of them has ownership in a competing league, which could influence the dynamics. Clark's comments weren't casual. Back on January 10th, 2025, at Duke University, she emphasized that fans are eager for the WNBA season and that a deal requires compromise. With 3.2 million viewers tuning in last season, her public statements were intended to pressure her own union into action. She warned that players are reaching a critical point in the negotiations, diplomatic language for saying the deadline is looming and a resolution must happen quickly. The negotiations are already tense. The WNBA and Players Union extended their original December deadline to January 19th, a 6-week extension, but half of that extra time has already passed without a deal. Plum highlighted that missing the initial deadline and using up half of the buffer time is a serious issue.
The response is in this. It's just crazy, man. Like, you're signed to Unrivaled. You got equity in Unrivaled. Like, y'all are somewhat compromised on the situation to a degree, even if you're it's just weird, man. It's a little weird. Y'all on the board, but y'all got equity in the competitor leagues. It's all a little conflict of interest. Here it says, Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark said Friday that while WNBA players will fight for everything we deserve during their current round of collective.
The league recently put forward its latest offer, which guarantees a $1 million base salary for 2026. Top players could earn over $1.2 million annually when revenue sharing is included. The salary cap could rise to $5 million in 2026 and increase each year depending on revenue. This marks a substantial jump, considering the current maximum pay is just $241,984, effectively more than quadrupling earning potential for elite athletes. However, the union has broader demands. They want a full overhaul of the salary system, enhanced benefits, a new revenue-sharing structure, and minimum standards for team facilities and staffing. Negotiations hit a snag at these additional requests. While the league is ready to offer $1 million, making the numbers work would require players to give up some existing perks like housing stipends and car allowances. The union, however, is insisting on receiving the full package without sacrificing any current benefits.
Extension of the current CBA through January 9th, 2026, as both sides continue to work toward a new deal. But questions persist on whether both sides will come to an agreement by then, or even whether a work stoppage could be on the horizon. Now, this is what Kelsey Plum had to say. Kelsey Plum, first vice president of the WNBA, said at Camp Friday that the talks have been a little disheartening.
Caitlin Clark is diverging from the union's official strategy at this stage. She isn't part of the negotiating committee. Her teammates Lexi Hull, Lexi Brown, and Aaliyah Boston represent players in discussions, with Brianna Stewart serving as union treasurer. While Clark is briefed on developments, she doesn't have a seat at the decision-making table. This gives her the freedom to speak openly on points others may avoid due to union politics. She acknowledges that players have every right to fight for what they've earned, but she emphasizes the need for compromise. Her message is strategic. Demanding everything without flexibility risks getting nothing at all. Without compromise, there would be no season, no games, and no fan attention, meaning the excitement from 2024 would vanish without a platform to showcase it.
Priorities are transforming the league's salary structure and revenue sharing system, introducing standards for team facilities and staffing, and garnering more robust benefits. The league has said it wants to substantially increase players' salary and other cost commitments, while also incentivizing owners to continue to invest in operating the business and building sustained profitability. The most recently,
Clark sees a perspective that seems largely missing from others. The WNBA just had its most successful year ever, and much of that success is directly tied to her influence. Attendance at Fever Games surged almost overnight. Viewership records were shattered. Merchandise flew off the shelves, and corporate sponsors lined up. This wasn't gradual growth. It was a sudden, explosive impact, widely recognized across the basketball world. Reports confirm that the league hopes to capitalize on this rapid expansion, particularly the contributions Clark made in 2024. However, Clark warns that such cultural moments are fleeting. Casual fans drawn in by the league's recent success may quickly lose interest if there is number 2025 season. Momentum could vanish, and with it, a unique opportunity for players to secure life-changing earnings. Clark urges caution, warning that rigid stances could jeopardize this critical moment. Kelsey Plum, however, disagrees, emphasizing that players are united in standing up for their values. Angel Reese echoed this, noting that the team is cohesive and thoughtful about their demands, a typical expression of union solidarity during high-stakes negotiations. Now, let's address the major issue that many are avoiding. Kelsey Plum is a co-founder and equity holder in Unrivaled, a new 3-on-3 league launching in Miami this month. She has a multi-million-dollar deal and sits on its board of directors. The potential conflict of interest is clear. If WNBA negotiations collapse and the 2025 season is threatened, players may turn to alternative leagues like Unrivaled, directly benefiting Plum personally. She is not alone. Brianna Stewart, the union treasurer, is actively involved in negotiations and also has financial ties to a WNBA rival league. These conflicts contrast sharply with Caitlin Clark, who has no contracts with alternative leagues. Clark's earnings and reputation are fully tied to the WNBA, making the 2025 season essential for her. She has no fallback options, so her priorities naturally differ from those of some union leaders. With a January 19, 2025 deadline approaching, time is critical. Training camps usually start in April, and free agency begins in February. If a deal isn't reached soon, the 2025 season could be in serious jeopardy. Clark is publicly urging both sides to find common ground to ensure the season happens, warning that a lockout or strike could stop play entirely. She is positioning herself as the responsible voice pushing for compromise. Meanwhile, Plum is emphasizing the frustrations of the talks and how far apart the sides remain. Her statements reinforce the narrative of player unity and steadfastness, a tone more aligned with preparing for full-scale conflict than fostering compromise.